William Beckett was a phenomenal person. Beckett would have been born here at Linnaean Hill, which is now known as Klingel Mansion. His father was actually Joshua Peirce, who was the man who enslaved his mother and him. Early DC was not as urban, so you would have still had, around the early formation of the district, you would have still had farms where people were still growing a majority of cash crops. The free black population also was quite large here in the district, and there was quite a bit of intermingling between the enslaved and the free black populations here because of the free black population being so large. So these people would have worked together, they would have often gone to church together, all those types of things. This was not a plantation, this was more so of a farm. As he aged, he ended up being an integral part of Joshua Peirce's horticulture nursery business. William Beckett would have been emancipated in 1862, and that would have specifically been a part of the compensated DC Emancipation. So, of course, that happened before the Emancipation Proclamation. It happened before the end of the Civil War, but he would have been around 29 years old when that occurred. After emancipation, Beckett becomes a coachman for Secretary Seward. So he drove his carriage for about 2 years, I believe. And so during this time, he became acquainted with President Abraham Lincoln. He was a coachman for a couple other senators, and most notably, President Grover Cleveland and President William McKinley. He stayed at least until the death of Joshua Peirce, which was in 1869. So probably within a year or so after Peirce passed away, then he would have ended up purchasing his house on 1628 M Street, and also next door, 1626 M Street, he purchased a coal and lumber yard. So he ran a business for about a decade. However, he ended up selling it because of a financial crisis, and he ended up going back to being a coachman. And after his time as a coachman, he worked for the Library of Congress. He worked as a doorman for their Congressional Reading Room. To go from being someone's property to owning property to being a businessman to rubbing shoulders with some of these very well-known white and black citizens in DC, and also folks that are known worldwide, I've grown to have a lot of respect for him and for the life in which he lived.